I was thinking about my life and I realized that I'm tired of not taking steps forward in my life because most of the steps that I've taken are side steps or steps that are not really funneling me in the right direction. Let me explain what I mean. When I got out of school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I've said that probably 100 times since the starting of this channel. And then, like I said before, I got a job working security. I was working night shifts from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and that wasn't fun at all. I was going to bed at like 8 a.m., waking up at 4 p.m. and it was just terrible. So after that, I got a job in retail. I took a step forward because the hours were better. There was no more night shift. I was getting home at a decent time. It wasn't all that bad. So I guess we can call that a step forward because I went from working nights to working days, so that was fine. Then I worked at a grocery store, I was an Easter bunny, and I worked at a restaurant all at the same time. To this day, I still have no idea how I did that because that was right after my mom passed away, and at that time in my life, it was almost like I was just a robot, going from job to job, waking up, going to bed. I don't even remember anything from that time, just the fact that I had 3 jobs. I wasn't uploading on this channel just yet at that time. I was still uploading on my old gaming channel, and I was live streaming and other things like that. I only started this channel after all those jobs, then that was near the end of 2019. And then in 2020, that was when I started working in a factory. But let me just backtrack to the steps really fast. I went from working retail, and the latest we finished work there was either 9 or 9:30. Then I was working at the grocery store where we finished at 11. At the restaurant, we finished at 1 or 2 in the morning. And for the Easter Bunny, we finished around 8 p.m. So taking all those at face value, I guess you could kind of say I took a half step forward, maybe, because instead of traveling 1 hour to go downtown, I traveled 15 to 20 minutes to my 3 other jobs. But on the other hand, I was finishing way later. So, I guess you could say we took a step forward, sure. Then after that, I worked in a factory, like I said before, and that was probably the best job I ever had. It was close by. I got to work in about half an hour. I started at 8. I finished at 4:30, Monday to Friday. I didn't have any stress at work. I never took any work home. It was good. That was a step forward for sure. Thinking back, like I said, that was probably the best job I ever had. Now, I'm working in a warehouse and the job isn't bad, but it's kind of a step back from the previous one. We start at 9, which isn't an issue, but we don't go home till the job is done, which is sometimes 6:30 or even 7. The good thing is that we don't work on weekends or any holidays though. So factoring in those parameters, I guess you could say it's basically the same in terms of making progress because this job and my previous job had some not so great things that were associated with them. So they basically cancel each other out. Let's just call it even then. I guess the point I'm trying to make here with these steps forward is sure I'm taking steps forward, but I'm not taking steps forward in things that I want to do and accomplish in my career, which as of right now is something in like video or TV or something along those lines. I want to be very clear and say that I'm grateful for every job I've had. They've allowed me to buy things that I was currently interested in, even if it meant that I would regret it later. They allowed me to help my mom with the bills and eventually allowed me to pay my own bills and put food on the table and, provide Chester with food and other stuff like that. I guess you could also say that it helped me feel like I was contributing to the societal structure, I guess. I guess the thing I'm struggling with right now is the fact that I'm trying to figure out how I can take the next step in my career or take the next step in my life and hopefully, make my career come to fruition, I guess. I'm struggling with the fact that now I'm 26 and I guess you could say I have nothing to show for it. I've realized that people generally go down one of 2 paths in life when it comes to choosing a career path, and I'm talking in the most general terms. It's either you choose to make a lot of money or you choose to help people. Again, this is a big generality. Those aren't the only 2 options, but I feel like if you took most careers in the world, they can probably fit into one of those 2 categories. Some are both, some are none, but this is, again, I'm speaking in generalities here. Anyway, like I said, I just feel the pressure that now is the time to get my career in order, and I'm not sure why I'm having feelings like that, but my girl actually did give me a pretty good idea when it came to getting a job or trying to get a job in media, I guess you could call it. So normally I would go on Indeed mostly after work and look for jobs as a videographer or a video editor or something like that, and I would apply for it. I would apply for it and not hear anything back, which is no surprise. But she actually gave me the idea of contacting companies and asking them if they were looking for a videographer for their company, without any job listing, just cold calling basically. And I gave it some thought, and I've come to the conclusion that it's actually a really good idea. I think it's a good idea because of two things. Maybe there's a company out there right now that doesn't think they need a videographer, but say after they see my work and my portfolio, they might want to bring me on. Maybe they're outsourcing the work right now and they want to bring somebody in-house, but they aren't just ready to, make that jump. And maybe me contacting them is going to give them that little push that they need. The next and probably more important reason is maybe, me being proactive is going to increase my chances of being hired by a company to do video work for them. I'm a big believer in efficiency, and I like being proactive. I'll give you an example. I usually get to work a bit early in the morning, nothing crazy, like 10 minutes early, and I take off my stuff and I just, most of the time I just go to work. It gives me time to turn on the lights, plug the radio in, get things sorted for the day, instead of just sitting and wasting those 10 minutes and then starting work after that. And on top of all that, if I was a business owner, I would put more thought and I would show more appreciation and give the person more props that was being proactive and asking me if I needed help with social media content creation and other things like that. Maybe I'm biased because, I'm the one trying to get a job in social media and media and stuff like that. But I don't know, that's just the way I like to think. I just like to be proactive. Another thing that I realized is that if you don't ask, the answer will always be no. That's how I got my job before this one, actually. I asked one of my friends if his workplace was hiring, and he said yeah. So I started working there, and I ended up sort of moving up, I guess you could say, to where I was dealing with incoming inventory and stuff like that. I think the job was called inventory control specialist or something. And I got that job simply by asking the person who was in charge of that department if they needed someone to help out. That's literally all I did. And that's how I got the best job I ever had in terms of hours and workload and everything. So I guess the moral of the story of this video is to just ask. That's actually what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna call or email and ask companies if they need photography or videography work done, and I guess we'll see what happens. I've realized that when you don't have a formal education, like a degree or something else, it's very difficult to get people to give you a look because you don't have those things that people say you need. Although I don't think there's any correlation between having a piece of paper with your name on it versus not having it when it comes to operating a camera. Obviously, you have to have a degree and stuff like that if you're gonna be a doctor or a lawyer or, an important job in society. But who am I to question it? Either way, like I said, at the end of the day, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. And as always, thanks for watching.